it made the sound go out on the video. So now, third time's the charm, like I said. So now I got to catch everybody up on where we was at. So in this word, though, in this message, in this video, what we were speaking about was that discerning when God is saying yes and when God is saying no, and how the enemy oftentimes do use, he'll use your dating life to literally destroy you and to sit you down and to get you outside of the will of God. He uses it to keep you inside of confusion so that you never actually reach where it was you were supposed to be. You never fully become who it was you were called to become. You miss out, oh my God, on things that God had for you, and etc. And the reason why I'm putting us out, I'm sorry, I'm getting so tired of all the different disruptions, but yeah. So the reason why I'm putting all of this out is because if I start back from the beginning, I woke up this morning, first thing that God reminded me of was when he was having me feel a ring on my finger, right? I kept feeling this ring on my finger. I was dating somebody at that time. Oh, touch your sugar, give me some sugar smacks. I thought her husband give me some kisses. But I was dating somebody at this time. And with that being the case, this person has actually ended up passing away. For the people who do not know, my ex-fiance passed away, right? So what that tells us already was that that was not my person. But also God had already told me when we were only a few months in, he said he can't go with you. That's what I heard loud and clear. I was driving home from work and I heard that. And instantly after I heard that, I felt some sort of offense. And I was just like, man, like, what do you put my phone on Do Not Disturb? But I was just like, you know, what do you mean? Like, they can't come with you, or they can't come with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow, you know, like I like this person. I love this person. I'm attached to this person. You know, this, that, and the third. I think they're a good person. All of that. Like, what is the issue? I don't get it, you know? And so a lot of us, we face that when we're dating. And what we do is we get in defense mode with God because we feel like he's taking something away from us, when in reality, he's saving us from something else. He's saving us from the detour that the enemy will make appear as if it was God sent. Y'all know how a lot of people actually do get on the internet. What do they be calling them people? Oh my God, what do y'all be calling them? People be calling the spouse that come be the real spouse. What do y'all call those people? I can't remember what y'all call them. Counterfeits. Y'all call them counterfeits. Okay. And in a way, I'm not big on kingdom spouse messages. I'm not big on counterfeits. I've never made a counterfeit message in my life, to be honest. I just speak on the lessons, right? Counterfeits. I just speak on the lessons that I've gotten from relationships that weren't God sent. And the ones that were God sent, but he did not place in my life for a lifetime. That relationship, it still went good, but it still had to come to an end, and etc. But either way it goes, what he had placed in my heart before I came back down to make part 2 was that there is a person that's in your life that he didn't call to be in your life. And that's just the moral of the story. And God is not trying to be mean to you. He's not trying to be mean. He's not trying to strip you of your hope. He's not trying to break your heart. He's not trying to waste your time. He isn't trying to get your hopes up and etc. What he wants you to do is appreciate when he isolates you. He wants you to appreciate your isolation so that you can thrive. Do you get what I'm saying? Because in that isolation season, as I've said so many times already, but I keep having to remake the video. But in your, what you gain is wisdom, strength, discernment. Oh my God, baby. You gain some good discernment. Wisdom, strength, discernment, patience, and self-control. Those are the ones that I've literally became, those are the areas that I've literally became stronger in ever since. She got scared. Ever since my isolation season had even started. Your faith goes up and etc. And either way it goes, what had been on my heart so heavy is just people who are single, and when I say single, I'm saying you're not married, right? So what they do is they fall into this space of just grieving. Like they're always upset and they always feel like God has not yet delivered because I am not married. And they believe that God has let them down and et cetera, et cetera. Let me tell y'all, in that isolation season, if you are not operating from a space of self-righteousness, because I see a lot of people who are quote unquote in isolation, but they are really walking in self-righteousness, meaning that they are always counting what they're doing for God. Oh, I do this for God. I do that for God. I'm doing this for God. I'm at church every Sunday. This, that, and third, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I'm holy. I'm holy. I'm holy. Oh, I wear sweaters and turtlenecks and scarves in 80-degree weather with a big hat. Oh, I do this. I wear gloves. Oh, I only wear heels because I'm a lady. Or oh, no, I only wear suits. They do stuff and they don't understand that that's not growth. That's literally not growth. You get what I'm saying? When you start growing in your isolation season, you pointing the finger at your own chest. You ain't even worried about the world. You looking at you. And let me tell you though, how this has helped me so much and it has made me grow so much in my isolation season to where I can literally wake up happy. How about went on dates? Yeah. Do people text me? Sure. You get what I'm saying? But your season of isolation, you really ain't even gonna care about all that. The people who date, and you don't even care for real. You get what I'm saying? Because it's not even about them. So in your isolation season, whether you're dating or not, you will still literally just be like, your eyes is on the prize. You get what I'm saying? Your eyes are on the prize. Your heart is on the prize. And this is where your joy starts to come in, because you're becoming wise. You're becoming wiser. When you gain wisdom, you're able to have joy, because people who lack wisdom lack accountability. When you lack accountability, you're always going to feel like something is owed to you or something has been done to you. And you'll never be able to step back and say, I actually do this. Oh, I talk like that. Oh, I move in this way. I process this in this way, when it really don't even mean that. You get what I'm saying? But your isolation season, oh, you're going to break down the background that you came from. You're going to figure out who you are. You're going to figure out what you like. You're going to figure out your intelligence level. You're going to figure out your emotional intelligence level. You're going to figure out that, I'm not that wise. You get what I'm saying? But see, what people don't understand is that humility is really confidence. So when you're humble enough to point the finger at your own chest, you're going to keep growing. But people who are, operating in self-righteousness, or people who are cocky and think that being cocky is confident, they stay in the same place. You can lead them for 5 years, meet back up with them. They're going to be doing the same thing, talking the same way, arrogant in the same places. I kid you not. Oh my God. But your isolation season is such a benefit for you. This is for you. Because once you start being like, I'm so capable, I didn't even know. I've been giving all my attention to the world. I've been giving all my attention to work. I've been giving all my attention to people who God has been calling out of my life. I've been giving all my attention to people who weren't worth my time. I never even realized who I was. I never even truly realized healed for me. You get what I'm saying? I never even healed myself. Listen, this talk is not to get people to say that I love myself because I've done the work and blah, 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 because people do that too. But they'll just be like, oh, I love myself, and think that they gotta shut out the world to prove that they love themselves. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's not what I'm saying either. I'm talking about you giving personal. Your soul has God's attention. Like, not only do your soul has God's attention, but your soul wants the attention of God on you. You get what I'm saying? Like, and this doesn't even mean, like I said, this does not mean that you are just in this space to where you're proving how into the church you are, and you gotta go and do and take up offerings for the church and sing in the choir. This ain't about that. This is not what I'm talking about. You get what I'm saying? When you in your isolation season and you're single, you are learning about you and God. God is preparing you for what he called you for. That's what your separation season is all about. It's just during that process, you gain so much. And the things that you gain are things that people can't take. Because God will get you to a place where she about to fall off this chair. Because she always being, look at you. You trying to hear? You trying to get this? But either way it goes, your isolation season is amazing. And when God called people out of your life, understand, I don't know what that is. You said doggy, I don't know what that is. But when God called people out of your life, just understand that it is time to let them go. And that you aren't taking a blow. You're taking a, what's the word? An acceleration. Okay? Abraham could not get to where he was headed until God separated him from Lot. It wasn't that God didn't like Lot. It wasn't that God didn't love Lot. It had nothing to do with none of that. He wasn't a part of the plan. And my only goal for this video is just for people to understand when they're being trapped by the enemy. When you are in a relationship, rather that is even friendship, baby. Don't take the snakes with you. Come on, man. Leave the snakes in the yard, please. Shut your white picket fence. Walk into the place God called you to and leave the snakes on the other side of the gate. Thank you. Because that's what I do. And I am not apologetic about it. I thank God I left. I thank God that he gave me the strength to have faith in what he told me about other people that I loved. You get what I'm saying? Woo! Because you see so much clearer without them. When you got friends, let me just get into friends, in the friend play, in the spaces of friends. It ain't even got to be a relationship. You will have friends that you can't even be yourself with because you may have unfortunately outgrew them. You get what I'm saying? And you never have to feel bad about it. Everybody got an expiration date, baby. It was going to end one day regardless. Rather I let you go today and let you walk away, or rather I say, okay, they didn't put you under the dirt and you're gone. It don't even matter. Everything ends one day. So with that being the case though, become unapologetic about what God has told you to separate from. You cannot prosper in the space of places where people don't want to grow. When people are literally, this is why I say that the enemy placed people in your life to destroy your path. Because those very friends, that very relationship, thank you. Spit it out. Spit it out. Ta-ta. Yeah, let me get that. Thank you. Get over here with a mouthful of sunflower seeds. But the enemy will use those very friends, those very people that you are in a relationship with, to trap you in a circumstance to where you feel like you don't belong. You feel rejected. You feel like you gotta have one eye open, because it's like these are people that you've been to. These are people who you don't even have proof of any offenses of, but something in you, or God even himself, have shown you something about these people. And what you also realize is that the mentalities are not the same. So when you get to talking, they feel offended by how you speak. They feel offended about who you've become. They feel like you are, in a way, they may even try to come up against you in a way of feeling like you just may be a little too into God. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. But they not understanding that God doing the work in you, and they rejecting the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So they don't look at it as that. They don't see it as that. And they don't appreciate the wisdom of God. But what does God say? A fool rejects wisdom. You know what I'm saying? What does God say? He chastised the one he loves. So the one who loves the Lord is going to keep his commands and receive his correction. Be for real. But when you around people who don't want to see you grow, they got to make you feel like an outsider, whether it's on purpose or not. That's why I'm saying, don't let the enemy trap you with anybody in any type of way. I don't care who they are. They could be a cousin like Lot was. Don't let nobody trap you in a bond, in any type of bond that God didn't call to be. Because the enemy is going to use them to attack your spirit, to attack your mind. That's when you start feeling like, oh, let me not say that because, you know, they gonna feel like I'm just talking about God too much. Oh, let me not say that because they you get what I'm saying? And no, I'm not saying that you got to be one of them people that's just like, I'm Bible thumping all day and this, that, and the third. But your foundation and what you stand on is what you stand on. And whoever don't stand on it, don't want to walk with the Lord, that's not your problem. You get what I'm saying? So now, it was something that God had also spoke to me about earlier today. And it has something to do with, I think, the relationships, and when people get trapped in relationships with people that God didn't call them to be with. And what they do is this. They risk their life for years walking against the Lord in these relationships. I did it. Do you hear me? And I knew better. I knew better, but I didn't know better. I knew better. I had knowledge, not wisdom, basically. So with that being the case, though, you spend years walking against the Lord, right? Now, in the midst of these years, God said in his word, it was, what book was I reading last night? I can't remember. It was this morning as well. But I spoke about it in part 2, where God was speaking on the potter and the one who was molding the clay, right? And the one who was molding the clay ended up messing up his clay, but then he ended up fixing it into something new because he had messed up. Then God came and spoke to whoever it was in that chapter. And he said, am I not like the potter, where I can basically change? I can change the outcome, right? And what he said was that you can either block your blessing or you can receive your blessing. You can either receive the wrath of God or you can escape the wrath of God. Both of those things are changeable. But what you do in the midst of those years is you block a lot of blessings and you receive a lot of wrath because you're in a space to where you go against God. You get what I'm saying? So now in those spaces, people literally, what you got in your mouth? Goodness gracious. I'm so sick of them in these sunflowers to eat. Oops. But when you are in those spaces, though, you stay confused and you stay in a space where it's like you have not grown for years. In fact, you decline throughout those years. And the enemy literally, what does he do? Come to steal, kill, and destroy. That's literally what those years be all about. So now let me try to get into the discernment side of this. Like I said, God kept making me feel that ring on my finger, right? But now, mind you, that is not my husband. That was never my husband. We were engaged, but God had already called him. I'm sorry, y'all. My phone overheated. It just keeps being one thing or another. This is already the 3rd time I made this video. Like, oh my God, the enemy really don't want me to get this out or something. But now trying to get into the discernment side of this thing, like I said, he ended up not being my husband. God had already told me in the beginning, like, he cannot go with you right now. Like I said, we both got free will. I got the free will to say yes. He got the free will to propose. We both got the free will to try to force something that God was never in alignment with. He never even called to come to pass. Okay. Now, what I will tell you is that God will always, just gave me this. God will always show you. He will always show you. Now, although I loved this person, I felt like they were the sweetest little, oh my God, they're so much like me. Oh my God, we are meant to be together. When I tell you God will pull you out your sleep, this is in the Bible. When God is pulling you out your sleep about a person, and them dreams is like, well, what is this? When you having them type of dreams about these people, and then in the physical, what they're coming to you is like, a proposal, I'm trying to tell you, when God say I'm not the author of confusion, that's why. Because when he shows you something about a person, and then he had even probably told you about it, but you got offended instead of submitting, that's why. That's why everything is tormenting you. That's why you are feeling like you're stagnant. You stopped growing. You stopped prospering. You may even lose the little wisdom you did have. I kid you not, because I swear, for them 5 years, I lost the little wisdom. The wisdom that I did have left. I ain't gonna lie, but that's because when you keep rejecting God, God is wisdom. You get what I'm saying? He is what brings wisdom to pass. Please, come on now. This is why I be wanting you to go in the house. This is why right here. But either way it goes though, yeah, you can't keep rejecting the Lord. When you keep on rejecting him and etc., you're going to feel a push on your life. You're going to feel it's just going to be this wrath. It's going to be a wrath. And it's going to be in so many different type of ways, y'all. To be honest, please, you want to play out the window or something, you know, like kids do, play out the window. Thank you. But it's going to be a wrath. It's going to be a confusion. It's going to be a stagnation. Whatever God shows you, that's why I have learned to not just look at the physical. When God speaks to me about a person and I don't even know why he's saying this about them, I be like, you got to go. I don't care what you say. You can apologize. You can start being nicer out of nowhere. Whatever it is you feel need be. But you cannot place your faith in the physical. You got to place your faith in God so that you can get people out your life that weren't called to be in your life. It's not about being mean. Again, it's not about being mean. It's not about being like, oh, I'm holier than you. You can't come where I'm going. It's not about that either. It's just about you understanding like, if I choose you, how much effect? If God told me to separate from you, it's for a reason. Now, if I go against God and let you in, how much effect and what type of effect will you have on where I'm trying to go? Because if you are not stable to where you can be at peace with your life alone, this is why your single and isolation season is so important. Because if you can't learn how to look at the good things, when you don't have a person there to try to cater to you, to try to uplift you, to try to give you compliments, to buy you gifts and etc. and etc. I'm talking about on your broke days. Everything. If you can't find joy through the trial, through the chaos, if you can't find faith in the darkness, in the valley, without somebody else making you see it all the time or superficially bringing you joy through sex and compliments and gifts and attention, then Ari, please. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. But if those are the things that keep you grounded, then I don't want to make it sound so harsh, but you probably don't got the faith that it takes to walk in the Lord if that is all it takes for you to have faith in a person. See, life belongs to God. God knows better than everybody. He come to me about a person, it ain't a gift in the world, it ain't an apology in the world, it ain't an amount of attention in the world that's gonna make me say God sent you. God can speak who he want to speak for. You get what I'm saying? And if he speak for somebody, it don't matter what they do. If he say that they aren't to go, leave them. Because if you don't, now you're choosing them over God. And he's going to allow whatever it was he had for you. Remember I just said a little while ago, whatever it was he had for you, he could say I no longer have it. Now I got wrath. If you choose to walk with the Lord, now he can say, oh, I had wrath for you, but now I got blessings. Now I got peace. Now I got growth. It might not be what you wanted it to be. It might not end out to become what it was you wanted it. Why is she looking at me? Why did you just lick my face? Tell them why you did it. My baby got an eye on her, man. I ain't gonna lie. She'll mug you down. I be out in public apologizing. I'm sorry, y'all. She just like to. That's literally what I be doing. Like, yeah, thank you. Oh. She be giving me some firm little hugs sometimes. But On a serious note though, so yeah, you want to use your discernment though. You want to use your discernment. Do not be afraid. God is not trying to beat up on you or anything like that. He wants to he wants to literally just get you to a place where you trust him no matter what it looked like. He want to get you into a place of submission where it's like whatever you say, no matter how it look, that's how it goes. I'm just gonna rock with you. You the winner in the end. You the king of kings and everything else in between. So I'ma just go ahead and do what it is you said to do. That's just where he wants to get you. But he blesses you with joy and peace and things that the world can't give in the midst of it. But either way it goes, I think it was one more thing that was supposed to be spoken on. So basically, discerning when, wait. It was the ring that he had me feeling. It was people, somebody that's in your life that's not supposed to be in your life. He don't change his mind about people. And I think it was also the desperation that be occurring. Oh, okay. So now the next one is this. Your single and isolation season, we still kind of within that. But something that I noticed is the heartache, the desperation, the mental distortion that people go through. And I think he wanted me to touch on that a little bit more. And another thing that will affect you and cause you to start operating out of desperation, and then you start making mistakes and building regret because you made decisions out of desperation instead of having faith and patience, right? This, God has exposed that those type of actions are rooted in unforgiveness. Unforgiveness and lack of identity, right? So now, I just keep feeling in my spirit the unforgiveness part of it. So now when you are operating in unforgiveness, for one, you probably still battle with a lot of regret. And what I realized is that you don't forgive others but know how to forgive yourself. That's kind of not how it works. Like, forgiveness is forgiveness regardless. Sometimes you can judge yourself a little softer than you judge others. But forgiveness, you either forgive and know how to forgive or you don't. And it's not that you perfectly just gain this control of your emotions to where you never get upset again and etc. That's not that. But in your single and isolation season, what you will learn is discipline, right? That was one of the ones I mentioned, discipline. Your discipline is going to come into action. And it's going to work on your behalf when it comes to forgiveness. How do I know this? Because with discipline, you may have a thought about something, but what you will be able to do is control yourself and say, I'm not allowing that in my heart. I forgive. You'll be able to do that because your isolation season has taught you discipline. Let me tell you where that discipline comes from. Because in your isolation and single season, God about to take you through the valley, baby. He about to let you face everything you feared facing. Every nightmare you had as a kid coming up about to come true in your isolation season. And you want to know what you're going to do? You're going to feel like you're facing it alone. You're going to feel the power is out of your hands. And guess what? That's going to teach you self-control. The pain is going to teach you self-control. It might even teach you humility. And both of those things will lead you to forgiveness. I'm about to get to the next step too on how this even relates to dating. But let me tell you, your discipline and your humility is going to cause you to say, I know how to stop allowing dark things to dwell in my heart. And because I know how to neglect and reject things that come to basically harden my heart, now I know how to keep a softened heart. And with that softened heart, I have been able to receive the humility that God wants me to operate in. And now that I'm in humility, I can look at other people and see where they're coming from. Because I'm not up here. I'm not up here with my sweater on and my scarf and big hat and my self-righteousness. I'm down here now. Even if my wisdom's up here, my humility keeps me here. So now I can operate with a balance. Do you get what I'm saying? That balance is going to allow you to receive the fruits of God. And you will be able to look at people and say, okay, all right, you said that about me. I've said things, even if you're going back to, stop. How did I know you was about to do that? Huh? How did I know you was about to do that? But it will allow you to receive the fruits of the Spirit, right? The fruits of God. So now, with that forgiveness, with that humility, you can look at other people and you can be like, okay, you might have said this about me. I've said a thing or two about people. Okay, you might have gossiped about me. All right, I done gossiped before too. You get what I'm saying? That humility, listen, because God humbled me too the other day, actually. And it was so random. I was talking to one of my friends and they reminded me of something that I did. And they didn't know this, but I knew this. And I thought to myself, I said, dang, I was a stone cold Steve Austin. And I had no business because at that time I knew God. So I don't even know why I did that. Little do they, I ain't say all of this to them, but it struck a chord. I said I knew better. I remember that time and I knew better. Why did I do that? You get what I'm saying? And you know what that did? You know what that showed me? That showed me that we are all here making mistakes, big offenses. You get what I'm saying? So you can know better, still not do better. You get what I'm saying? And that will place you in a space of understanding that the next person, they can know better and still not do better too. You get what I'm saying? So now let me clear up something else though. They can know better and do better. They can know better and not do better is what I'm trying to say. Which means it's capable to forgive them. So now, what we done spoke on so far is people being in our lives that God didn't call to be in our lives and discerning. The next thing that we spoke about was forgiving. So now, you may have people that God never called in your life. And you may still feel as if there is some sort of attachment there, right? But it'll be like a demonic attachment. And the reason why I say that is because people that you haven't forgiven, you haven't let go. You get what I'm saying? See, God and Satan is kind of, they're black and white. So the thing about that is this: the devil will create bonds through unforgiveness. That's why they call it make up fornication. Let's just call it for what it is. They call it make up fornication. Because the enemy will create a bond through devastation. Y'all need to clock that T. I don't know if y'all clocking that T or not, but y'all need to clock that T. The other one though, with God, oh no, he creates a bond through faith, through trust, through forgiveness, through discipline. But when you in a relationship that God didn't call you to be in, and that is for you to discern, I'm not telling you, but I'm just saying, when you are in a relationship, I got skin on my lip, I'm sorry y'all. When you're in a relationship that God didn't call you to be in, from my experience, I thought it was love though, y'all. I did. I thought it was love. But when I look back on it, it was built off devastation, pride, ego, and what they call a trauma bond. And all that do is keep you in a cycle of chasing the next high. You get what I'm saying? It keeps you in a space of tit for tat. And once you get your lick back, that's when you get your high. And then it breaks you down again. Because that person, they coming back to get their high too. So they gonna come back and break you. And then you gonna be like, now I gotta come back and get my high again. It's a bond through devastation. Not to say that people who God bring in your life is going to be perfect. Is not to say that. But The thing about this is, God knows how to speak for the people that he did bring into your life. So if God is not speaking for them, really speaking for them, and not just speaking for them, but your relationship is bearing the fruit. You get what I'm saying? Because it's people in my life who God has never spoke evil of. I've had fallouts with them. I've argued. Never spoke evil of. Never. We didn't have fallouts, but he ain't never spoke evil of them. Make it make sense. The people who God speak bad on, and you feel like you in a rabbit, you on a hamster wheel. Trap of the enemy. That's what that is. Trap of the enemy. Hi, Snookabuka. Trap of the enemy. Kids, y'all know I know it firsthand. I was a what they call a guru. I was the backsliding guru for 5 years. I ain't lying. I was. In my little engagement, 5-year backsliding guru for real. Expertise. I learned a lot in that thing. So either way it goes though, a lot of people are suffering from unforgiveness. It's really what I'm speaking on all of this about. Suffering from unforgiveness, and that it will keep you in that desperate state. So like I was speaking on, when the enemy has built a bond with you and you haven't started to operate in wisdom and humility, you will keep that in you. Even if the people are no longer in your life, you'll keep it in your heart. The rejection, the neglect, the deterioration of your wisdom that you lost throughout them years, the lack of control. Not to say that following God you don't make a mistake, but you get what I'm saying. The lack of control that has seeped in through that bond, the roots that the enemy has planted, all of that. Because those things are still in you, when you reach your single and isolated season, and you start feeling like, oh, I'm crazy, I need a spouse. There is still some healing that needs to be done. And I really say that lovingly. I'm not saying that in a way of you aren't good enough, you aren't smart enough yet, you aren't strong enough yet. I'm not saying it in that way. I'm saying it because throughout my experience, going through the single and isolation season, I grew to a point where I said, I don't want a husband. I just want a best friend. That's what I was literally telling God. Like, I don't want a husband. I just want a best friend. I just want a best friend because what I had come to realize was that I just need somebody that's going to hold me accountable. I'm happy in life alone. What do I need? I don't know, but I don't need nothing. All I want, God, is somebody that's going to walk into my life and hold me accountable. And the only way they can hold me accountable is if they grounded in you. So that's all I want. That's all I need, because the heights that you've shown me, I'm going to need that. You get what I'm saying? That's all I want. That's all I need. Everything else, I'm good. So that's why I say, from experience, I know that when God has placed you in an isolation season, in a single season, and you are still yearning, you are still angry, you are still like, God, you ain't gave me a person to rub my back, my feet, and massage my bones. You might just need take a little bit more time. Just take a little bit more time. That's really all I'm going to say, because God, if he could do it for me, he going to do it for you. I know that. So that's why I'm telling you, if you having that heartache, just give it a little bit more time. And don't neglect yourself. Because when you are searching everywhere outside yourself, you are not even focused on what can still be being done while God has you by yourself. It's not, again, because people do this so much, I got to keep clearing it up. It's not for you to be like, I'm just so focused on me and myself healing, and I'm at a gym. It ain't even about that. It ain't got nothing to do with that. Because, oh my God, the strongest thing you can do is be strong on the inside, like mentally and spiritually. But let me get into this next thing right quick. We still on dating. But a lot of the times, what people do is this. They say a woman is not supposed to be seeking out her husband because a husband finds a wife, right? Okay. I get what y'all saying. But then the Bible also says, that's a lot of messages. The Bible also says that men should not basically like just indulge themselves with women. You shouldn't. It don't matter if you're a male or a female. You should never just be throwing yourself to the world trying to find what you can find, no matter what level it's on, just to have company. You're destroying yourself. Whether you are a man or a woman, you are destroying yourself. You don't lay down rolling garbage and get up clean. You never will. You get what I'm saying? You want to have discernment. It's not about you being better. It's about you understanding the work God has done in you, and you are appreciating that work enough for you to say, I see where you are, and I love you for where you at. And if you okay with where you at, I'm okay with where you at. But I can't come down to the level that you're on because I've already experienced it and overcame it, and I understand the work it takes to get out of it. I understand the damage that comes within it, and that's why I don't choose you. It has nothing to do with me being better than you. It's about the wisdom and the discernment that I've gained from doing the work. That's all it is. You get what I'm saying? So, again, whether you are male or female, you do not have to destroy yourself in your mind looking for a wife or a husband. Yes, baby. You ready to go, huh? She always ready to go. She always ready to do something. But it's not about that. Whether you are male or female, you have to use discernment for who your wife is. You have to use discernment for who your husband is. God has already spoken to you many times in your life. Many times in your life. And for me to bring up again, just one more time as an example, when God had me feeling that ring on my hand when I would be in the shower, but that was not my husband. Guess what that taught me? That God knows how to speak to me in different ways. But it doesn't mean that it was a yes. It doesn't mean that he was in agreement. You get what I'm saying? A lot of people would be like, oh, but I felt the ring on my hand. This is the person that proposed. So this was the one. This is the one. God confirmed it because I felt the ring. No. Use your discernment. Use your wisdom. Take your time. Ask God. One thing that I can tell y'all, though, just to give an example of how to be familiar with how the Lord speaks to you. I remember when I first got pregnant, and I told y'all about this already before in some of my past videos. I had never been pregnant before. I've never had a miscarriage. I've never had an abortion. She was my first pregnancy. So I've never saw myself pregnant, nothing like that. I've never had symptoms of pregnancy, nothing like that. This was my first rodeo. I did not know I was pregnant. But discernment that God just blessed me with in that moment, he blessed me with it in that moment. And when I looked at myself at a picture, because I went to a photo shoot and I saw myself and I said, either I'm getting old or I look like a mom. And I just started cracking up laughing because it was funny to me. Whole time I really was pregnant. You get what I'm saying? So now, it was another time that God had spoke to me where it was like I just looked at myself and I just looked like something. I'm like, whoa, I just look like, and you'll just see it on yourself. So I'm saying this to say, think back on the times where God has spoken to you and then it came true. Figure out the lesson that you can even get from it. For example, with the ring. That was a lesson for me to say, oh, now that was an opportunity where God gave me prophecy, but it doesn't mean he was in agreement. It was just to let me know that he knows everything that's coming next, but that don't mean you don't go check in. Now, when it came to discernment with my pregnancy, it's like, oh, okay, Now I can trust that when God shows me something on myself that I've never even seen before, but I got it right. Discernment. God was confirming a thing to me. You get what I'm saying? So just become familiar with how it is that he speaks to you, so that when you do come across your husband or your wife, you'll know, no, that was a gifted discernment. That was something that God just exposed. That wasn't me, that's God. And you'll become familiar with when it's God. You get what I'm saying? So that you don't have to be eager for everything that walks in your life, because you know that God can and will tell you. You get what I'm saying? So either way it goes, I just wanted to point that out. And like I said, if you're battling with unforgiveness and lack of identity, those are definitely two things that will keep you in a state of trying to make desperate and fast decisions, trying to rush the Lord, and then being angry with the Lord because the Lord... How many times I got to turn it off? Jeez, no. But being angry with the Lord because you like, listen, you ain't doing what I thought you was going to do, and blah, 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 blah. You can cruise through your experience. You can have peace through your cruise. You don't have to rush God. This is actually something that I'm working on as well. It's just taking more time to be like, you know what? Let me talk to God. Let me really go talk to God. Because one thing I will try to do is, God, give me a sign. Because that's my quickest way. That's my quickest way to get an answer sometimes. I'm like, Lord, give me a sign. Shoot, I ain't really, you want me to go down there? You want me to go down there? And we can just try to get comfortable with that. So, one thing I've been working on in this season is waiting and allowing God to speak without rushing him and this, that, and the third. If I'm feeling confused, it's time to go talk. You get what I'm saying? If I'm talking and I'm not getting the answer, it's time to wait. You get what I'm saying? God work everything out. He just showed you enough, honestly, for you to relax for real. But when we start trying to figure out the ins and the outs, the point A's and the point A and a half to B and the point B and then B and a half to C, it's like, okay, now you're doing too much. I done showed you, he done at least showed you J and K. You know what I'm saying? So he ain't about to be, you know what I'm saying? You got to have faith somewhere. But either way it goes though, y'all. Yeah, I think that might be the end of the word. I think I might have touched on everything I wanted to touch on. So yeah, if you want to know, that gas smells so good. But yeah, if you want to know if a person is for you, if a thing is for you, if you battling with like that heart posture of, you may be, you know, just like angry with God, like, Lord, why you ain't sent my person, you know, hopefully this video helped. Other than that, I love y'all. Share this video out to 3 people that may be battling with love. Share this video out to 3 people that, I remember one time, I was about to say, oh, share this video out to 10 people. I said, child, ain't nobody got 10 people. Stop playing. Ain't nobody got 10 people now. You're really doing too much. You're really stretching it. Okay? But on a serious note, though, I'm actually very serious. Send it to at least maybe 2. I don't care. Whoever you know that you just feel like they be battling with love. They be battling with loneliness. That's the word I'm looking for. So, yeah. I love y'all. I'm going to catch y'all in the next My Me and Me God Vlog video. Y'all already know the music is dropping. That's what I'm called to. It's going to be dropping. I'm actually working on it right now. I've been working on the video. I've been working on the song. It's just I really want to do it right. I don't want to do nothing that I'm going to regret. I don't want to do nothing that I'm going to look back on the music video and be like, that's cringe. So I'm trying to take my time, you know what I'm saying? Get it together and then, you know, make sure it's pleasing with the Lord. So, yeah. I'm going to catch y'all in the next My Me and Me God Vlog video. I love y'all. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye. You gonna say bye-bye? Say bye-bye. Say it to them. Say it. Say bye-bye. She always say bye-bye. Now she don't want to say bye. All right. You won. I'm gonna see y'all later. Bye-bye.